All gas, no brakes. More like no bark, no bite. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Post-Match Panic, everybody. We are talking Friday Night SmackDown for February 20th, 2026. And I am running solo today. We're going to do something a little bit different. Jesse is out traveling for work this week and is unable to make some recordings, so it'll just be me. So we'll see how this goes. And so this week we are in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We are 1 week away from the Elimination Chamber. A week from Saturday, we get the Elimination Chamber to finally figure out who is going to have that other match at WrestleMania. Currently, at the start of this show, we have the men's qualifiers is Randy Orton, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, and the young OG Javon Evans. And on the women's side, we have Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. So we got 2 more qualifiers tonight, so we'll see who gets to join them. But our boy, Cody Rhodes, OG1 maybe, we'll see. The QB1 of Friday Night SmackDown opening the show. It's debatable at this point, but we get a little bit of a recap of how Drew tried to stack the deck at Chamber by interfering in their last qualifying match to make Sami Zayn win. Didn't go to Drew's plan, and Cody is now 1 win away from going back to WrestleMania. We know that he didn't like the fact that he couldn't point at that sign this year saying that he was going to WrestleMania. But, I mean, do we really want Cody main eventing for the 4th year in a row? I believe this is if he were to go to WrestleMania, this would be his 4th year in a row main eventing WrestleMania. I mean, we already have the part-time tribal chief main eventing for I believe 10 plus years. Do we really want to keep going down that road and have Cody Rhodes main event again for another 4 years? I mean, isn't it time for some fresh blood? When's Randy Orton going to get his due? Push the boy LA Knight. I mean, I can see them pushing Javon Evans. I mean, he's on a rocket ship right now. I don't think that's the right call, but Cody Rhodes, again, I'm kind of done with it. At least they're not doing Cody versus Tribal Chief Roman Reigns again. Like, I'm done with that story. We've done that to death, but, Cody versus Drew again, they've been doing that all year. Do we really want to do it at WrestleMania again? I don't know. If it were me, I would say, as of right now, we don't know who the last member of the chamber is going to be. Throw those predictions at the end of the show. But as of right now, I want Randy Orton to be that man in there. So, but we got Jacob Fatu coming out as Cody starts to talk and starts to address the crowd. The Samoan werewolf making his appearance. Coming out hot, saying Cody would not have qualified if it wasn't for Drew, because he had him beat. And I agree with that. If it wasn't for Drew, Fatu was running the show there. I think he would have dominated the rest of that match and been taken that spot in the Elimination Chamber, which would have been fun to see. But as of right now, they seem to be building up that Fatu Drew angle like they have been all year. That's why Fatu came back and interfered with the 3 Stages of Hell match, and because he thought that Drew was the one who attacked him and took him out. Could be that is the case. We don't know. They're still building to that. So Fatu calls Drew out to the ring, but instead we get the general manager, Nick Aldis, coming in saying that he gave Drew the night off. But after a little bit, we see that Drew has rented out a suite up in the stands, and he's there anyway, and he's got a microphone in his hand. It would have been easy for Technical to turn that off, given he had the night off, but what are you going to do? The champ has a microphone. You're going to let him talk. He has something on his mind. We need to hear it. Let's hear what Drew has to say. And then Drew says, he's just a master on the mic. I think he's just very good at getting under people's skin and saying the thing that will set them off. And he does this perfectly with Jacob Fatu. He says that he's all gas, no brakes, more like all bark and no bite. And that set Fatu off. He started tearing towards the stadium and going up the stairs towards Drew. Security and all this were able to get to him beforehand and say, hey, give me time. You want your match with Drew. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. We don't want to screw up Chamber. We don't want to screw up Mania. You'll get your hands on Drew, but just not tonight. Just give me some time, which, again, we already have the heavyweight championship title match for Elimination Chamber with Finn Balor and CM Punk. I could easily see them making this match the WWE title match at Chamber for Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. Honestly, I'd like to see one of those titles change hands at Chamber. I probably won't happen, but it's worth a shot trying to see. So they didn't officially announce that yet, but I could easily see that being one of the matches on the card for next weekend. Moving on, we get Carmelo Hayes backstage, and Ilya is coming in hot, but not in like a bad way. He's hyping up Melo for his qualifier in a very, very intense way. Melo isn't really having it. He says to take that intensity and redirect it to your match tonight, bud. And Ilya does that. He calms down. He acknowledges that he was getting a little too crazy. And he points at Melo. He says, even though I'm after I got tonight, I'm still coming after that title. You're not walking into Mania as the U.S. champion. So still this feud between Ilya and Carmelo Hayes still going. I'm on record saying that I love this matchup. I think any match between these two guys are bangers. They just show up and show out every time they go up against each other. They throw it all in the ring, and they work very, very well together. Now, that's not to say that that's all I want to see from Ilya, because that's kind of all we've seen so far until tonight. It would be really nice to see what Ilya can do with other people and get that chemistry going with other superstars in the ring, which we do kind of get to see in this next match, Ilya Dragunov versus Tama Tonga. This kind of came from the fallout from the 10-man tag last week, which was intense and insane. And yeah, like I said, I think this is a good way to inject Ilya into other feuds rather than just going after Melo and Miz. It's clear that he has more chemistry with Melo than he does Miz. The matches with Melo were always better than the ones with Miz. Let's see what he can do with some other people. And Tama Tonga on the MFT side, he seems to be the only person other than Solo actually doing something other than just standing there and being part of the MFT's numbers games. The more we see from Tama Tonga, it's been good because we're seeing Tama Tonga and Shinsuke Nakamura, their rivalry. We see a little bit later in a package that gets heated back up, but we're seeing Tama do something. He has the last 3 matches, including this one, which we'll talk about in a minute, but Tama has been the one to get the pin. So clearly, he's a force to be reckoned with at this point. Whether he needs to break off and do whatever, the MFTs, I feel like, with the way the Wyatt story's going and the fact that they're trying to get into Solo's head and breaking up the family, I think breaking up the family is the right call. We don't need another giant faction of people who just stand there and do nothing. Yeah, they're the tag champs. When's the last time they defended them? That's the thing. We're on SmackDown. We have a 3-hour show. Defend the tag titles. We have more time to do storytelling. Do it. Put the titles up. I don't care. I say this with the Usos too. Make them defend them every week. Let's do something with the tag titles. They cannot just be something to put on someone's shoulders and then just let them walk around forever. Defend the titles. Working champs. Engage in good storytelling. Build these feuds. You're already kind of doing it with the Wyatts, but you're not focusing on the tag part. You're focusing on the faction part and the lantern, which is fine. I feel like that story is going to go somewhere, but do something with the tag titles. We're talking about Tama and Ilya. This match was intense right off the bat. Ilya with a series of chops, Tama answering backs with a series of right hands. Very intense, guys. Ilya is so unhinged. The more you beat him, the more he just smiles and laughs and enjoys it. He's just taunting Solo after powerful suplexes to Tama Tonga and just calling Solo out as he's ringside. But of course, it's 5-on-1 at this point. The MFTs are going to get involved with different distractions with the referee, trying to get the cheap shots on Ilya, which did happen a number of times. We did get the cutthroat by Tama to secure the pin, as I mentioned that he was the winner of this match. And then Solo just gets on the mic and starts saying that he has everything. He has his family tree. He has the lantern. He has the tag titles. A lot of individual thing, not we, he. And in the middle of that speech, Ilya attacks Solo and then, kind of foolhardily, because it's 1v5. Ilya's not going to back down from anyone. We saw him go up against Brock Lesnar, for God's sakes. But he just immediately gets destroyed by all the MFTs. And Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews come down separately to try to help him. But again, 3-on-5 at that point, you're still going to get destroyed. The lights go out, and we get Uncle Howdy on the TV saying that Solo is using his family as a crutch, and that if he's the shining light, it's time that he shows everyone that he can stand on his own. Solo going solo, like we've been saying. The next time Uncle Howdy comes down to the ring, he'll be alone, and he's going to expose all Solo's insecurities that he's hidden from the Fireflies. The only question is, will he show up? So we get a match. I believe it's next week that we'll have Uncle Howdy versus Solo Sikoa. Whether Solo comes out by himself, with or without the lantern, we don't know yet. But that story seems to be going somewhere. Whether that's exciting or not, whether it's engaging or not, we'll have to see. Again, my theories are that they're kind of going back to what they used to do with the Wyatts before, with Bray, is that they're getting in the minds of people, and they're, kind of, all the spiritualness, all the possessiveness, all the, deep, dark stuff that they're exposing and trying to get people to turn on each other. So we'll see how that goes. I'm glad we're seeing more Ilya week to week at this point. He got injured right after getting called up from NXT. Very unfortunate, but I'm glad he's healthy and he's coming back hard, even though he's been in a knee brace this whole time. Doesn't seem to be bothering him, though. So I believe he'll just continue to feud with the MFTs at this point, whether he'll make his way through them or if this was just a one-off. I don't know. I would like to see, him go up against JC Mateo or Tongaloa, just somebody else. Just let's see what else Ilya can do, and don't stick him with Mello every week. Even though I would love to see that anytime, but I feel like he just needs to expand his repertoire and expand his storytelling. So, moving on from that match, we have Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis backstage. Nick Aldis rightfully upset that Drew is there after he was given the night off, and that Drew's going to keep testing Aldis, and he'll. Nick Aldis said, Drew, keep testing me, and I'll show him what I can really do. And then Drew just kind of leaves at that point. We move on to interview with Byron Saxton and Randy Orton. Randy says that everyone in the chamber is on edge it's a big match. It's WrestleMania. Like, of course you're going to be nervous and on edge. And then Zelina Vega comes in, who, of course only comes up to his stomach, interrupts saying that Randy knows that there's only one road to take with his friend Cody Rhodes. At that point, her husband, Aleister Black, comes in saying that Randy isn't what people feared anymore. He goes around the locker room and people aren't scared of him anymore. He's gotten soft. And Aleister wants to poke around his head for a little bit. And Randy's not having it. Randy's, he's not susceptible to these mind games, it doesn't seem right now. So Randy's going to go talk with Aldis to set up a match with Black later tonight. And as Randy's leaving, Black says that he is the shovel that will dig up the old Randy Orton. Ooh. So we'll get shades of 2009 Randy Orton again. Get those voices in his head doing something. Let him loose. Get that true Viper, Legend Killer mentality out of there. So we'll hopefully get to see some of that at some point. Moving on, we got Nia Jax and Lash Legend backstage getting ready for Nia's qualifier. And a tag match rematch is made official next week against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Who cares? Nia and Lash are not entertaining to watch. They're not entertaining on the mic. This feud with Rhea and Io isn't fun. I mean, we'll talk about it more when we get into the Women's Elimination Chamber match and the match with Rhea later. But I mean, come on, Nia and Lash, go to Raw or something. I mean, or just break up. You don't need to be a tag team. Come on, we don't need to see it. But we'll see that tag match next week, I guess. Moving on, we have Jade Cargill in the ring, our women's champion, is leaning into the fact that she's not doing anything with that title. She says that she's going to defend her title on her time, and even though Jordan came in, her best wasn't good enough. And she's trying to get the crowd against her, but the crowd's just not reacting, and rightfully so, because why should we be invested in a champion who's not here week to week, who's not doing anything with her? And I understand, we've talked about the fact that it is most likely the case that the injuries to Bianca Belair and Naomi's pregnancy has screwed up the story that they have been trying to tell with Jade Cargill. I understand that. it's your job as creative to come up with a plan C and to make it engaging. It's your champion, for Christ's sake. You can't just have them sit there with it and not do anything. Build a story. Make us care about your champions. Make us care about your belt. Because right now, I don't care at all about the women's WWE Championship. I don't care about the United States Championship from the women's side either, because they haven't done jack for any of that right now. Figure out what's going on. Get your writers in a room. I understand Mania's coming up, and maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe they'll pull something out at Mania that'll make us eat our hats. Fine. Awesome. I'm here for that. But there has been zero buildup, zero storytelling coming back leading up to this point for the Women's Championship and the United States Championship. They're focusing more on Giulia being a tag person than the belt. But Jade Cargill in the ring, the crowd just isn't engaging with her. She says that Liv is going to make her decision in Atlanta on Raw, and Jade will be there to see that there. So we'll see Jade on Monday, I guess, once Liv finally makes her decision. So, yeah. As Jade leaves, where Charlotte comes out to begin her qualifying match, and Charlotte just kind of brushes Jade off. Jade doesn't like it, but you know, Charlotte's the queen, so she's gonna do what she's gonna do, and yeah, we'll see what happens there. But we are moving in to our women's Elimination Chamber triple threat qualifier with Charlotte Flair versus Kiana James versus Nia Jax. Now, going into this match, I had written down before the match even started that I wanted to see Kiana take this. She's impressed lately, and she could break out. She should break out, and it would be a huge win against Charlotte and Nia, two veterans of women's wrestling and who have been around a long time. Kiana, fresh off the block. I mean, she's been around for a couple years. She took some time off, but she seems to be coming back, and they seem to be pushing her really well. So going into this match, I could see that. The other thing I'd written down, if Charlotte had won, we would have our first tag team in the chamber. Which, you know, having that and then possibly Rhea and Io, there's storytelling possibilities there, but Io would have to win her match as well. But I digress. Going into this match, Nia and Charlotte are extremely dismissive of Kiana. They just seem to be going after each other. Now, I said we're going to talk about this match. We had a solid week of clean, entertaining, and fun women's triple threat qualifying matches. We're back to the sloppy, just garbage match that this was again. There was stuff all over the place. You could clearly hear Nia telling Kiana to get to the other corner. We had multiple moves that looked like they did not go correctly. Kiana James didn't kick out. That's huge. And the pin at the end, even though Kiana did win, that figure eight going into sliding under Charlotte and doing all that, sloppy as hell. That could have been way more impressive if that was done right. I don't know what's going on with these women's triple threat qualifiers, but there have been two so far that have been worth watching. Everything else has just been hot garbage, in our opinion. I was texting with Jesse. We're like, what is going on? And you know, it's to the point now where we just need fresh blood, I think. A lot of what we've seen in the sloppiness have been with these veteran people. You know, bring up Sol Ruka, bring up JC Jane, you know, bring up some of these women that are killing it in NXT and that should be ready to go for the main roster. I mean, you know, it wasn't that long ago that Tiffany Stratton came out from NXT. She's doing great. You know, she got hurt, whatever, but, you know, that happens. But bring up this fresh blood, people who have already been working together for a while that already have that chemistry. I mean, that's why Mello and Ilya worked so well, because they had a huge rivalry in NXT. They came up. They're still doing it together. They have great chemistry together. Some of these women in NXT have great chemistry together. Bring them up. It's time for a shift. Something needs to happen here, because week after week of these just sloppy Elimination Chamber qualifiers or just sloppy matches in general with a lot of these women, and it's just more prevalent with the women. I think the men have their sloppy matches too. Don't get me wrong, there are some sloppy matches that happen there, but for some reason it's just so in your face. with the women. I don't know if it's the fact that, there's just psychologically, like, they have higher voices, so you can hear them more. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the science is behind it, but it's just way more prevalent with them than it is with the men. And like, we'll call out the men anytime that we see it. We'll call it out, and I did. But man, I don't know what to do here, because it's people who should not have these issues are having these issues, and I don't know. That's my take on it. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what it looks like in my opinion. So, yeah, Kiana James ends up being the one to qualify, which I'm very happy about. Didn't love the uncleanliness of it, but I think it was the right call to put Kiana James in the chamber and get the win over Charlotte and Nia. I don't necessarily know what that does to their stories individually, but it puts Kiana where she should be. People are liking her. She's doing very well. She's earned it. Let her go. Let her go into the chamber. Will she win the chamber? Probably not. Doubt it. But it'll be interesting to watch her get in there, because she's becoming more and more of a powerhouse. Break her off solo. I mean, we'll talk about that with Giulia too, but they don't need each other. They don't need to be in a group together. Let them go by themselves. No. And we both noticed that with the men's and the women's chamber that they are extremely stacked, and then there is a mid-carder or two in there. I think that's good, to let these people get the opportunity to show what they've got. But at the same time, if they're not going to win, does it make sense to have that spot in there? Could there be more of an entertainment factor with somebody more established than having somebody that is more brand new? Javon Evans being there in the men's chamber makes total sense, because he's got the entertainment factor, just in spades. I think just his OG cutter. I think, last week I said I want to see the OG cutter off the chamber. That has the potential to be something awesome. So we'll see. I'm really excited about the chamber on both sides. I think it'll be fun regardless. They always are, but we'll see how it goes from there. After that qualifying match, we have Rhea and Io backstage. They're getting ready for Nia and Lash next week, as well as Rhea is getting ready for her match against Giulia tonight, and Io's qualifier next week. We'll talk about those more when we get there. The next match, we have the long-awaited, based off the poetry reading from last week, Oba Femi versus Kit Wilson. Now, this has been building up a couple weeks. Oba came out to squash him in his SmackDown debut, and Kit walks out from Gorilla with his book of poems out with him. So we get to see, we didn't necessarily know that this was going to be a match. I thought they were just going to be talking face to face again. But we do end up getting an actual match. But while Kit was out of the ring, the bell rang. Interesting, because if it's the normal match, then they both should be in the ring before the bell rings. But that is what it is. But Kit goes ahead and grabs a mic and says, hey Oba, from one feminist to another feminist, that he wants to read a poem that he has prepared for him, and he calls it an ode to Oba Femi. Now, these poetry readings are awesome. I think this is a great little bit between these two guys. And the poem reads, Oba Femi, forgive my doubt. I now see the greatness that people talk about. You're impressive, incredible, born to reign, with all these people chanting your name. And Oba, I thought you were a brute, and now I know that's not fair, because now when I look in your eyes, Oba, I see a little teddy bear. Some good stuff from Kit Wilson. He's coming along to Oba Femi a little bit, whether it's out of fear or respect, it is what it is. And Oba's liking it too. So much that Oba grabs the mic and says, that was quite nice. Read another one. And Kit only prepared the one, but Oba isn't having it. He says, read another one. Now, Kit says, he's flipping through his book. And he's like, very hesitantly says that he's got some old material. And it's called 9 Things I Hate About Men. So, the anti-toxic man is going to tell us 9 things he hates about men. I hate how they think being loud means they're strong. I hate how they think that they are never wrong. Toxic. I hate how they act with no shame or regret, always comparing the size of their beef bayonets. Toxic. Haven't heard beef bayonets. That's a new one. I hate how they strut like a self-made king. I hate every time they step in this ring. I hate their brand of masculinity. And this is where he hesitates a little bit. I hate the ruler, Oba, your toxicity. And Oba didn't like that, so he grabs him from outside the ring, throws him back in, gives him a series of running uppercuts and a fall from grace for the pin. Yes, this was all during an official match. So, yeah, fun times. Keep the poems going. This with Kit Wilson is a lot of fun. It's just really, really a good time. Doesn't matter who it is. We Oba hasn't officially signed with SmackDown yet, so we get to see him most likely in a match with Rusev on Monday night. So we'll see the opposite side. We got to see the kind of humorous side of Oba in this one with Kit. Now we're going to see the intensity with Rusev over on Monday. All right, moving on. We have the long-awaited Aldis getting face-to-face with the crate that was sent over from Adam Pearce from Monday Night Raw. R-Truth says that, hey, man, it's a major award. It's an Elimination Chamber award. He's won it before. And not as much back and forth as with the intern as Adam Pearce did. But Nick Aldis just essentially tells a staff member to send it back to Pearce on Raw. And we'll go from there. Damian Priest comes in and says that he's ready for his qualifier. And Truth looks at Damian and says, hey, only one of us can go to WrestleMania. And in true R-Truth fashion, thinking he's in the match when he's not. But Aldis corrects him and says that Truth says that, or Aldis corrects him saying that Truth isn't in the qualifier. And Truth gets all upset that he liked him better when he was bald and walks away. Kind of breaking Damian again, which is always fun. Anytime R-Truth can break Damian Priest is a good time. Moving on, we have our fourth match of the night, Tiffany Stratton versus Alba Fire. Now, this came about after Tiffany broke Chelsea's ankle, and we see Chelsea coming out in a wheelchair, throwing her newspaper with these headlines out into the crowd. I'm sure this was a pivot, but I don't necessarily see the storyline between Chelsea or Tiffany and Alba Fire. They haven't really done much with Alba Fire's story aside from her being just part of the Secret Service, but I think putting Alba and Tiffany together seemed a little bit unfair. They're just kind of completely different levels, in my opinion. And even in this match, it looked like Alba did have a couple rough landings, whether that's on her, whether that's on Tiffy, or whoever. It just looked like that she may be waking up with a few heavy headaches tomorrow morning. So not much to say about this match. There wasn't a lot going on to it. We got the prettiest moonsault ever for the pin. And I think this was just more of Tiffany gaining momentum for Elimination Chamber. So not much to talk about there. After this next match, we have Cody and Sami Zayn backstage, and Cody tries to give a pep talk to Sami. Cody says there's nothing to be ashamed of, but Sami's not having that. He's clapping back, saying that Cody should be ashamed after pinning Sami, after Sami tried to help him with Drew during the match. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, because, if Sami didn't get the haluva kick on Drew, who knows how much more damage Drew could have done. We'll see, but these two are starting to get heated at each other. Cody says that Sami hasn't become champion because Sami doesn't take advantage of the opportunities like Cody did last week. Man, some friend on that one. So Cody tries to do the right thing, and it blows up in his face because Sami was saying that Cody doesn't know what it's like to do the right thing all the time, and Cody knows, and he says, don't lecture me. The only thing that is in Sami's way is Sami. And then Cody stomps off. Trick approaches Sami, which this has been fun to see Trick Williams get into Sami Zayn's head. And he goes, hey man, with friends like Cody, who needs enemies? Again, not wrong, because, Cody and Sami are friends, but Cody did hit Sami with the crossroads to get the pin and to get the qualifying match in the chamber. So, is that taking advantage of a friend or taking advantage of the situation? We'll have to see. Are we slowly getting that the Homelander version of Cody? Are we slowly getting the heel turn from Cody Rhodes? I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Once Chamber happens, I'm sure something will happen there. So Trick Williams is on his way out for his men's Elimination Chamber qualifier with Carmelo Hayes and Damian Priest. Now, this is the first time that I am aware of that Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams have interacted since NXT. Carmelo has been on the main roster for a while. Trick has just come up. But these two had a bit of a history in NXT. If you don't know it, go look it up. They were the Trick Mello gang you heard Wade Barrett talk about a little bit. So they were a big team together until Trick started asking questions about breaking off and doing his own thing, and Mello had his heel turn and turned on Trick right before he came on the main roster. So going into this, I was really excited to see that, and Trick's been on a roll. I could easily see him taking this match. These are my thoughts going into the match, and or my other thought was that Trick and Mello beef it out and Damian takes it, starting a feud between Trick and Mello again. That would have been fun to see as well. Right as the match starts, Trick tries to ally with Mello, drawing on their past experience together, but Mello says, no, this is every man for himself, and Damian just attacks both of them, not having any of this team up. So Damian took control of this match really early and had to control a good chunk of it. Trick intercepted Mello with a leg lariat and Mello is really good at selling that. Doing his little backflip is really good. I think he's just great at selling in general. But Trick telling Mello after that it should be the two of them at the top says that Carmelo doesn't have what it takes and is kind of pushing him down and throwing him down a little bit. And Trick hits him with a trick kick, and Mello just kicks out of it. So, we'll see what happens between the two of these. I think there is a little bit of a feud going on there, but Carmelo hits Damian with a nothing but net, but Trick ends up saving the match. And Priest just goes off with some big kicks to both Mello and Trick. And then we do get to see a little bit of a tag team happening between Trick and Mello. So Trick does help Mello with a springboard on Damian. Mello immediately goes for the pin. Trick breaks it up, and then Trick tries to go for the pin, and Mello breaks it up. So a little bit of a, oh, hey, wait, I forgot what we're supposed to be doing here type of thing. So, yeah. Mello does end up hitting Trick with the first 48, and as he's going for the nothing but net, Damian does intercept him. And as Mello's on the ground, Trick hits Damian with the trick shot and ends up getting the pin, falling onto it. So Trick Williams is our fifth man to qualify for the Chamber. We have two NXT stars in the Chamber that just came up, both Trick Williams and Javon Evans. That's pretty big. Like we were saying, the fact that we have this new fresh blood coming up is good. What do we think that the two of them are going to win? Either the two of them are going to win? Probably not. If it were me, I would say give it to Randy. But if they wanted to, they could push Trick. They could push Javon. We'll just have to wait till next Saturday and find out. So, again, we're backstage with the crate, but Nick Aldis isn't there this time. We have a lot of different superstars, a lot of different tag teams. And then as the camera pans up, dude, poor Johnny Gargano, man. He's just distraught with the loss of this mask. I don't know. Candice can't get him out of his funk, but the man is just acting like it's 2007 and just planking everywhere. And I'm here for it. Let the man just get creative on all of this. I think it's funny. But Candice blames Nick Aldis for Johnny's condition, not giving them the opportunity to get the mask back. And then Jordan Grace comes in to try to get some words with Nick Aldis, and Candice and Jordan exchange words. And Aldis says, hey, you guys want to talk? We'll set up the match next week. Does that sound great to you? Oh, the puns. And then as everyone's walking off, the camera pans back up to Johnny, and Nick Aldis says that he's not feeling too great. So some good pun game from Nick Aldis. That was great. It was fun. All right, next we have a quick little segment with Jade Cargill backstage with Michin and B-Fab. I guess Michin's been injured. That's why we haven't seen her. Don't know why we haven't seen B-Fab. Apparently they're attached to the hip. Can't see one without the other, I guess. But it seemed like Michin was getting under Jade's skin a little bit. Looked like Jade was actually kind of scared and left speechless. So, we'll definitely see the two of them probably go at it sometime soon, but most likely after Chamber. We'll see something happen. So, all right, our next match, Giulia versus Rhea Ripley. I was really excited for this match to see these two in singles action again. Seeing Rhea by herself, seeing Giulia by herself, it just felt right. And I didn't have much to written down for this match because I was just having fun watching it. this match was very back and forth, and it was a good time. I was having a great time watching this match. It was fun. It was entertaining. Both women, very intense. There's a shot going around of Giulia slamming Rhea's face into the mat. The intensity of Giulia, the veracity of Rhea Ripley, it was just so good. Both women doing what they do best by themselves. It was just so great to see. And it was going to be, it was awesome until Nia and Lash showed up. I just audibly groaned when that happened. There was no reason for them to come out. I understand they have the tag match against her and Io next week. I understand that they were trying to get all of that, but why ruin what was probably the best match of the night to just try to do this? That it was frustrating. It was annoying. Io came out to help Rhea and ended up getting Nia and Lash out of the ring and ended up being on top. But the match ended in disqualification, what ruined what could have been an amazing match. This match was great. I will say it. The tag matches, fine. They did their stuff. They told their story. Get these two women back in singles action. This match was so much fun to watch until the end. Get Giulia by herself. Break her off from Kiana. Get Rhea by herself. Break her off from Io. It was just so much more entertaining to watch. Sure, the teams may work. The teams may be fun to watch at some point, but I don't know. For me, get these two women by themselves. They were awesome. They were fun to watch. Let's see more of the two of them individually going forward. No. Moving on, we had Oba Femi backstage with The Miz saying that Oba is a WrestleMania main event waiting to happen, and that as the locker room leader, it's his responsibility to build him up, giving his acronym in the true John Cena fashion. And Miz tells Oba that, hey, I can show you the ropes. And Oba says, great, I'll go talk to Aldis and we'll do it next week. And Miz is all for it until he has the realization that, oh, wait, you're talking about a match? No, no. So that'll be fun. We'll get to see Oba versus Miz, and, we'll get to see what happens there. Next, we have Charlotte and Alexa backstage. Charlotte, in her true fashion, says that, Lexi, you're going to be okay. Even though I lost, you're going to be okay in the chamber. It's going to be fine. Kiana shows up with Giulia to taunt them, says that they are the most powerful duo on the roster, and that this will most likely set up a tag match for the next week, most likely. Going straight from that, we have the MFTs backstage. Solo tells everyone to go out to the car, and he and Thomas stay back for a little bit. Solo says that he's proud of what Tom has been doing and says that he has been there from day one. And he, without the lantern, the Wyatts are nothing. They're just never going to get it back as Solo walks away. Shinsuke Nakamura shows up, furthering their storyline, which has been fun to see. I think these two clearly, they have history in Japan. I think it's fun that they are going to continue that storyline. So really looking forward to see where that goes. So we'll see what happens next. Okay, moving on. We are here for our main event of the evening. We have Aleister Black versus Randy Orton. And Aleister has definitely been playing the mind games to bring back the old Randy we talked about in their segment earlier. It'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. Because as Black has definitely been the game player, so we'll have to see if Randy does succumb to that. So this really kind of started around the Elimination Chamber qualifier when Randy beat Aleister for the pin, or to qualify. So we'll see how this feud continues and if this has any influence on what happens into the chamber. So as the match starts and as it's going on, the Viper coils. Randy does his coil up, but Black is just ready. He knows it's coming, so he gets in his little cross-legged sit stance, and they're both trying to inspire fear in the others. So, really, really good little mind games playing back and forth. Black's not going to go down easy, but Randy Orton is taking control early in this match. Just kind of dog walking Black all over the place. I mean, we've said that he's got the most moves that he has to hit every time, so he's definitely trying to go through that sequence, but it doesn't always work. The draping DDT, the power slam onto the table, not all of that worked for him right away. So Black is definitely ready for him, as he should be if he's trying to play these games. So at one point, Zelina does try to distract the ref so Black can get a shot in, which does work. That does rock him a little bit on the outside of the ring. So that allows Aleister to get his striking going, doing work to Randy. So Randy's looking really wobbly, looking like he could go down at any moment. But, in true Viper fashion, he just snaps awake. And he hits Black with that scoop snap power slam, which is always great. And hits him with the draping DDT, the vintage Orton. And like I said, Randy tried to go for that back suplex onto the table, but Black was able to counter it. And but Randy did get something interesting as Black was draped over the announce table, getting that draping DDT onto the floor, which looked like it hurt. But again, we can't have a Elimination Chamber without some outside influence from Drew McIntyre. At one point when the ref's back was turned, Drew McIntyre comes in and just smacks Randy in the face with the title and knocking Randy to the floor. And Cody Rhodes does come out to chase Drew because, Cody's still pissed at Drew for what happened earlier on in the show. But Drew's able to hightail it out of there. But Randy's still not looking great. So Drew clearly trying to influence the outcome of the Chamber to face who he wants to face at the Royal Rumble. So we'll get to see, at WrestleMania. So we'll get to see what happens there. Black ends up coming in with the black mask to Randy to get the pin with the assist with Drew McIntyre. So, yeah, Drew softening everybody up. We'll get to see what happens. We don't have to wait long. We got a week, and then we get to see the outcome of all of Drew's games that he's playing. So, we'll get to see what happens. It'll be fun. So, that's all of the matches we had for tonight. Next week, we have our final two Elimination Chamber qualifiers. We have Jey Uso, Bronson Reed, and the original El Grande Americano. Now, I don't see El Grande Americano winning this. I think there'll be influences from the current El Grande Americano and the Los Americanos. I think there'll be something there. But I think this really comes down to Jey Uso and Bronson Reed. We could have the rest of the Vision, unfortunately, come out and do something for Bronson Reed. Or this could be Bronson's way to come out on his own and be on his own, which would be preferable and would be great to see because the Vision is a failed experiment and needs to go away. I get injuries happen. Again, this is one of those things. You got to have a plan B. You got to have a plan C. It's your job. Do it. In this case, have Bronson Reed go solo. He was way better solo than as part of, Solo's bloodline or this Vision. I always thought Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker would have been a great tag team to run the division, but what do I know? And then, of course, Jey Uso and his Yeet Fest. He's already a tag team champion. Are they going to put him in a position to get another championship? He won't win the Chamber. I think he's just there to get that Yeet Fest going. After that failedness that he had in the Royal Rumble with his entrance taking up the entire time, I don't know if I like him winning this. So, unfortunately, I think Bronson Reed should win this without the help of the Vision. That's what I want to see. On the women's side, we have Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez, and Kairi Sane. I want Raquel Rodriguez to win and then go on to win the Chamber before Liv gets to make her decision. And the two of them have a match to find out who gets first choice in champion. I think that would be fun. I think that would be good storytelling. And I think that would be more compelling than just having Liv choose somebody on Monday. And then we find out next Saturday who gets the leftovers. So make it entertaining, make it fun, make the choices fun. I get that there's a lot of time between Rumble and Chamber, but you've done well with Liv not making that choice and drawing it out. Make the choice fun. I think it would be good to see her and her friend go against each other for choice. I think that would be good. Be different at least. All right, so that's going to do it for our show this week. Again, we like to do our best and our worst of the week, our botch and our pop of the week. I was able to get in touch with Jesse to get his botch and pop of the week, so we'll start with his. So his botch was Kiana clearly not getting her shoulder up, and the ref had to end the count for her. So Kiana not kicking out during the pin was Jesse's. Mine was that entire qualifying match. We had a week of good, clean matches, and now we're back to sloppiness. I don't know what needs to be done. Something needs to change. Something needs to be fixed. Do it. Jesse's pop of the week was Drew throwing shade from the suite up top at the beginning of the show. And mine was Rhea versus Giulia until Nia and Lash showed up. I thought that match was great. Like I said, get those two on their own, doing their thing, and let's have fun with them, have good, compelling matches. So we're excited for the final qualifiers for the Chamber. Next Saturday, a week from Saturday, we have the Chamber. So that is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I'm sure I spouted off a lot of stuff that people don't agree with, that people have hot takes on. That's what we're about on this show, giving our hot takes and our honest opinions as people who haven't been around WWE for 20 years. We just started a few years ago. Tell us what we should know. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again.